What is up, guys? Toss a coin here, and today I will be giving you my advice on how to get more kills as a sniper in BattleBit. If you are anything like me, you are a little tired of being laser beamed from across the map before you even see the guy who shot you, or you would just like to see that KD go up just a little bit. If that is the case, then I think sniping is a good place to start because in my opinion, it has a relatively low skill floor and a high skill ceiling. Now let's get started. These are my top tips to be a more effective sniper in BattleBit. Tip number 1. You need to get your loadout right. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to run because some things will come down to preference, but overall you should be working towards running a medium scope because scope glint is insane in this game, an upgraded bolt like Bolt C, the URK grip, a rangefinder, and a ranger muzzle attachment. When it comes to building out a bolt action rifle, the main concerns are velocity, damage, rate of fire, and reload. I personally don't worry about recoil too much because it is a bolt action weapon. You should be making every click count. And speaking of making every click count, if you like this content, please click that like button and subscribe so that the algorithm can help more people find my content. Now let's get back into it. As far as gadgets go, I like the anti-personnel mines and the grappling hook. You can use the mines to fortify a little sniper nest or hide them in tall grass and bushes for easy kills. The grappling hook is to help you get on top of buildings for better lines of sight. There are other options that could be better depending on how you play. For instance, the C4 is great for opening up those new sight lines that originally might not be there, or even the Claymore if you prefer that over anti-personnel mines. For gadgets, I would just pick what you like, but I strongly suggest a grappling hook no matter what. Tip number 2, learn how to zero your scope. For most distances from roughly 0 to 200 meters, it isn't a huge deal, but if you want to counter snipe some enemies sitting in their spawn, then this becomes pretty useful. I think the default way to zero is to hold left alt and then scroll up or down on the mouse, but I prefer to change it to the same keys as Tarkov, which are page up and page down. Once I learned how to zero, I got my first long range kill. Tip number 3, fight at your distance. Roughly about 150 meters is when I feel like I'm not being laser beamed by SMGs and assault rifles anymore. Anywhere between 150 to 350 meters is where I feel like kills are pretty easy to pick up and come down more to my own skill than luck. As soon as I start pushing the 500 meters and beyond, a little bit of luck starts to come into play because of travel time of the bullets. I'm not saying you can't land long range shots because they do happen quite often, but if someone is moving erratically without any pattern to recognize, then good luck because you will need it. Tip number 4. Don't tunnel vision on one kill. There are so many times I have missed easy kills because I've become hyper focused on one guy. And I'm pretty sure you have seen that a couple times within these clips. Target priority should always go to players that are not moving. Typically that is snipers or medics reviving other players. Tip number 5, make every shot count. Missed shots will get you killed. Every time you shoot your rifle, it is a chance for you to get spotted. So you might as well make sure that it counts. Bullets in this game have a tracing effect that is very easy to see. This works in your favor for spotting targets, but also against you because enemy snipers will be looking for the same thing. As far as fighting other snipers, they usually have no clue where I am till I miss. Tip number 6, use bait. What I mean by this is after you drop a player, especially when there is a large group of them, wait and see who comes to rescue the enemy that you just killed, because then you can usually farm them for easy kills each time they are revived. This is probably one of the easiest ways to inflate your score in KD. Not to mention, it is kind of satisfying in an evil way knowing that as long as you have sighted them, that they are never going to stay revived for long. Tip number 7, flank. Flanks are not just for SMG medics moving at light speed trying to get highlights. Flanks are especially strong for a recon because you don't have to get nearly as close. Most fights in this game are won by who sees who first and who can get the first shot off. So why not just not get seen? Tip number 8, play the objective. You don't have to be on the objective, but just have eyes on it or around the objective that your team is currently pushing. And the games where I am just team deathmatching other snipers are the ones where my team's win rate becomes more of a coin flip. Not to mention, the objectives your team is pushing are just typically going to be more target rich. You can usually have an idea of where your team is by just looking for that big blue blob of triangles. Tip number 9, ping groups of enemies. The ping system in this game isn't amazing and I wish the pings could be a little bit more obvious, but they are still useful to your team. You are typically going to have the best view of the battlefield, so pinging the locations of enemies and their armored vehicles might be the difference between your teammates living and dying. Also, the more selfish reason is if you can get your team fighting the enemy, that is less of a chance that the enemy team focuses on you. Finally, tip number 10, don't be afraid to take long-range shots. You might be pressured from teammates to get closer to the battle, but we get extra XP for getting long-range kills. A long-range headshot nets you almost 1,000 experience, which means as a Recon player, you are incentivized to play at a range. And as a bonus tip, every shot you didn't take is a shot missed. You won't become a better shot unless you shoot a lot, which means you will miss a lot. However, over time, you are going to learn your weapon, and you are going to become more and more consistent. And those are my best tips for becoming a better BattleBit sniper. I hope they helped. If you have any tips of your own that I might not have in here, feel free to leave a comment with the tips that others can benefit. Also, let me know what your favorite sniping setup is. I'm curious what everyone else is using. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and see you next time.